Hi, my name's Ron. I'm with Newcraft Metal Products. We're going to put a lift together today, a 4500. Here's some of the tools you're going to need to do it. You don't really need a crescent wrench, but basically you could probably put the whole lift together with a couple crescent wrenches, but preferred would be a pair of vice grips, 3/4 wrench, 9/16 wrench, tape measure, screwdriver, and I've got a 15/16 socket here, which is going to might be a little tough to get, and I've got a 9/16 socket. You could use the crescent wrench in place of this 15/16 if it went up to 15/16. You could do it just a little bit slower, and you'll see later in the video what we use them for. We've got the 4500 on a pallet right now, and we've got all the loose miscellaneous parts put on here. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to place some of the parts on the ground, like in the direction that they go together, just to kind of get a basic feel of where we start. And we'll also be putting the pads on the legs probably first, because that's kind of the easy thing to do. So I think that's what we'll start, is the legs and the pads. You get two bags of hardware with the lift. One's called the frame for the 45, and the other will be called carriage. In this case it says cable. This is for the portion of the lift that goes up and down, plus the winch hardware. This is for the stationary frame. So I'm starting with the frame bag. Inside the frame bag you'll see adjustable pins for the legs, and there's bolts, both the leg to the pad bracket, the pad we call it. So start off with, you've got a 3/8 by 3/4 carriage bolt, square hole in the back side of the pad. So you got those in two places. And you've got a 3/8 by 3.5 bolt that's going to attach the leg to the leg bracket. You're going to want to tighten these up, you know, like so this bracket here, you tighten it up enough for this bracket, kind of pinches the leg a little bit. The other ones you can crank down pretty good. And these are whiz nuts, so you can almost do it from one side. You don't really need to have a wrench. On both sides, the whiz nut will kind of engage or lock in usually. But you could use something on the other side too. Notice here I'm turning and the nut staying stationary. It's kind of one nice thing about the whiz nuts. So go ahead and tighten these down, do them all 4 legs, and then we'll go ahead and start rearranging the lift to where the parts belong, and go from there. Put the legs together with the pad bracket and the pad. Now I'm going to put it inside the column. This is a 1-inch column here I've got, and I'm just going to slide them in there. And when I build the lift, this is me, but I usually come up a little ways off the bottom, because when I'm putting the members together, it gives me distance in here to work off of. It makes it a little bit easier to deal with. That's just the way I do it. There's a lot of different ways you can put the lift together. This is just the one that I kind of do, or works for me, I guess. But there's a bent adjustable pin with a hairpin. Put it through the hole. And I've done that to the other columns. And what I've also done is I put the columns in the right place, respectively, in the right corners to start putting it together. This is a 1-inch column. If I'm standing in the center of the lift, facing the front, it's going to be on my my front left side. The column to the right hand side has beads on it, I call it, On the back side, there's these two little beads that are part of the column. There's a T-clamp. We call this a T-clamp, we call this an L-clamp. The T-clamps are always going to face the inside of the hoist. So the L-clamps kind of goes from front to back, the T-clamp goes from side to side. So this would be across from the winch. This is kind of the same thing, it's just a mirror image of that one. T-clamp goes to the side, L-clamp goes front and back. This is the column on the back winch side. It'd be my left rear. Again, you've got the T-clamp going to the inside, you've got the L-clamp going front and back. You've also got a piece of tube welded on here with another piece of tube here. So this would be the left side, rear left side or rear winch side column. And it is heavier, it's a little thicker than the other two. The next thing we're going to want to do is there's pieces of 2x5 tubing that fit into those clamps, into the L and T. And the next thing to do is we're going to slip tubes over the T-clamp and over the L-clamp front to back. And there's a 2x5 by 1/8 inch tube. We're going to slide over and we're going to drop in a 3/8 by 6 bolt to secure them. This is the side-to-side member. It's a 2x5. The one weights are going to be 107 long. For 114, they'll be 113. For the 120, they'll be 119. It's basically 1 inch short of the width of the hoist that you've got. I've got a 6x3 in my pocket. And the front to back members are 2x5 also. And they're going to be 105 long no matter what the beam on your hoist. These are all the same. And there's 2 holes in these tubes. Those are going to want to go on the top side, especially on the winch side of the hoist. I'm just going to pull on this member and get it started here. And you're going to want to put all the columns in kind of in a similar manner. T's go from side to side, the L's go front to back. You do the same with the front to back member with holes in it. You do the back of the hoist the same way with a spreader. And just get everything put together loose. Don't put the nuts on quite yet. And I'm going to go ahead and get this thing together to that point, and we'll start her back up there. The winch column is going to be your longest column. It's 8 foot long, and it's a 1/4 inch thick wall. So and there will be safety stickers on it. So this is going to distinguish this between the other ones. The other ones are 6 foot 6 long. So, but anyways, you know, we put the last time we put these on here, the front and back spreaders. There's a galvanized plate that ties the corners together, and what you want to do is just put these on and just keep them loose right now. And what we got is a 3/8 by 6 there, and we put a 3/8 nut on the back side. Again, you can just put them on loose right now, and I'll show you why in a minute here. Alright, next thing we want to do before we tighten those corners down, we're going to want to tram the hoist to make sure you have equal measurements from corner to corner, inside corner. So what you're going to want to do is, you're going to need a little help probably with this, is have somebody on the inside lower corner, you know, like hold the tape on that corner, come over to this corner, take a measurement. Do the same thing on the inside corners over here, and make sure those measurements are equal. If it's not equal, you can push or pull these columns in or out to get that measurement equal. When you do have them equal, you can go ahead and tighten up these bolts that we put in there, get it all secured well, and then we'll go on to the next step after that. Next we're going to put on, there's some V-braces that go on the winch side of the lift, and there's, we call it a U-tube or cable tube that goes across on the other side of the lift. We'll start with this side. I've already got one of the diagonal braces in. There's a 1/2 inch by 3-inch bolt that goes up here, and there's 3/8 by 2 3/4 bolts here with nuts on the back side. Not much to it. This goes up into the pocket that's welded on the column. That's where your 1/2 inch bolt goes through. Half-inch lock nut. On the bottom we have some plates. We use a 3/8 by 2 3/4 bolt. In this location. Doesn't really matter at this point if the bolts are inside or outside. When we get up higher into the lift, I'd like to have all the bolts going towards the outside, but we'll get to that in a minute. I usually put these 2 plates on first, like on this member, and you're going to notice it's not quite lined up. It's just a matter of pushing it over. Sometimes you have to have somebody up on the column kind of pulling it back, but in this case it lined up pretty good. You're going to want to tighten these down.